Hello and welcome to CRN UK. My name is Victoria Pavlova, editor of CRN UK. Today I'm joined by Stephen Ennis, Vice President of Technology Acceleration at TD SYNNEX. As one of the world's largest technology distributors, TD SYNNEX works with thousands of vendors and partners to help deliver complete solutions and not just products. Stephen leads the company's services business across Europe, from lifecycle support and managed services to circular IT and sustainability, all of which we'll be touching on today. In this conversation, we'll be exploring the market landscape, the pressures and opportunities facing channel firms, and how TD SYNNEX is positioning its services to help partners grow, differentiate, and deliver to their customers. Welcome, Stephen. For those who may not be familiar, can you give us a brief overview of TD SYNNEX and your role within the services business in Europe?
Sure. First of all, great to be here and thank you for that warm introduction. As you rightly said, TD SYNNEX is indeed one of the world's largest distributors. Many people will be familiar with the name, which came about in the merger of Tech Data and SYNNEX back in 2021. We serve over 150,000 partners, actually across 100 countries, and we do that with a dedicated professional workforce of 23,000 co-workers. And the solutions that we provide are everything from data center and cloud solutions through to mobility, endpoint devices, and consumer electronics. We're a very large, significant company. We're number 73 in the Fortune 500. But actually, an accolade that's more powerful for me is that for the fourth year in succession, we've been awarded as a great place to work. So super excited to be here. My role within the company is looking after technology acceleration, which includes services. And services we see as being entirely complementary to our partners, and it really helps them with capabilities, competence, and coverage to reach customers, to reach markets, and to reach geographies that they couldn't reach without our help and support. As the leader of that business, my role is to set the vision, ensure that we're aligned with our vendors, ensure that we're delivering value towards our partners, and that's a measurable outcome for TD SYNNEX and for the stakeholders in our organization, the partners and the vendors that we serve.
I love that. Vision, value, and growth. So we'll be delving deeper into the services business and what that entails. But to do a bit of scene setting at the beginning, according to CRN data, there are around 13,000 active MSPs in the UK as of 2025. Your mileage may vary as to what you define an MSP to be. Nevertheless, a very diverse and growing sector. And the sector is expected to grow at a CAGR of 4.28% by 2030. In light of this, what role does the services segment play in TD SYNNEX's overall strategy going forward?
Yeah, great question. And I think you have to take a step back and look at what's driving the services growth. And I think it's really driven by a maturity in the market that customers have moved very rapidly and very quickly away from buying products through to buying solutions. And in fact, what they actually want now is a business outcome. And when you take a product and you add a service to it, that becomes a solution and that delivers a business outcome. So the customers that we serve and that our partners serve, those customers are now demanding a business outcome. They've long since matured from buying products. So the services business is now a must-do rather than an opt-in. If you're not providing services and delivering solutions, you will get left behind. The market just doesn't want it to buy products anymore. And we see that very succinctly. An example, customers tend not to now ask us saying, "I want to buy a firewall." They come to us and say, I want to enhance my security posture. The answer might be a firewall, but the answer is now a firewall product plus a security assessment plus an implementation plus a rollout. So the services are the secret sauce, if you like, that turn products into solutions, and those solutions deliver outcomes. And in terms of why that's important for us, if you think that partners need to make that journey, our role is to help partners be successful. We can only be successful when our partners are successful. If they don't win, we don't win. So our role is to ensure that we're helping our partners to be successful. And by bringing a portfolio of services to them, we enable them to turn products into solutions and to drive that greater success. So hugely important initiative and business for us, but it's key to driving the success of the partners.
That makes a lot of sense. And that's such a clear definition that I might actually steal it. Product plus service equals solution. That's Great. Across our network, we're seeing a huge amount of investment into cybersecurity services specifically. According to CRN research, which disclosure was conducted at the end of 2024, but still feels relevant, 6 of the 10 core services now offered by the average MSP are cybersecurity related. We're also seeing numerous companies exploring AI, but fewer confidently stating that it's influencing their bottom lines. What major trends do you see shaping the IT services landscape in Europe right now?
Yeah, actually, the timing, Victoria, couldn't be better because we just completed a survey of our partners, and we've released our 4th Direction of Technology report this week, in fact. And that's a survey across 1,400 partners across 40 countries to gauge their assessment of the market and what's happening in the market. And we'll share the link so that you have that. But importantly, from a services point of view, there's a couple of key findings that came out of that report. First, and maybe no surprise, services is growing. It's between 80 and 90% of all partners surveyed either already have or plan to invest in their services capability. So huge growth area from a services point of view. And within that, managed services is a key growth section. Again, I'll end up saying the same number because it comes out a lot. But again, it's about 80% of partners investing in managed services opportunities. So again, a key growth segment. You quite rightly pointed out cybersecurity. Every solution that gets deployed now has to have security at its center. And security is absolutely a priority. Again, very high percentage of partners continue to invest in security. A little bit different story when it comes to AI. Again, there's a huge opportunity around AI, but actually the challenge here is that a pretty large portion of partners are identifying AI skills deficit as being the challenge. So yes, there's an AI opportunity, but AI skills are very in short supply in the market. So an absolute deficit of skills around AI, which is causing a challenge. So big opportunity, but also a big challenge around AI. The other couple of things we're seeing a lot of hybrid cloud. We're getting a lot from the survey is in terms of hybrid cloud. So movement either from premise to cloud, that type of migration, a little bit of migration actually away from public cloud back to sovereign cloud we also see. So a lot of activity around hybrid cloud. But underpinning all of those activities and all of those opportunities, there's a huge deficit of skills. So if you think about security skills, AI skills, cloud skills, these are in high demand in the market. There's a shortage of them, and there's a challenge when it comes to implementing these projects. It's not finding the projects, it's finding the people who can do those projects, and that's a big challenge. The last area which we're particularly focused on is around sustainability, and bringing that full life cycle so that the technology that we bring to market, we're making sure that we're doing that in a sustainable, ESG compliant fashion.
That makes sense. And we'll delve a little bit deeper into the sustainability aspect in just a moment. Sure. But let's focus around TD SYNNEX's support for partners, particularly in areas that they might find challenging, such as deriving value from AI solutions.
Yeah. Well, so I said earlier that we're fully invested in the partner's success. We cannot be successful if the partner's not successful, and we are really joined in the hip in terms of making sure that partners are successful. And what does that mean? That means that there has to be, and there is, a huge level of trust between our partners and ourselves. We've brought together a portfolio of services, and I'll talk about that in a second, but we've brought together a portfolio of services that really complements what the partners have. And that trusting relationship that they have, we're absolutely a 2-tier distributor. We provide services to partners and only to partners. So that absolutely is a paramount. But not only is it about trust, but it's also about confidence. Partners want to work with somebody that they can trust, but also that they've really got confidence in that they can deliver. And we've built both trust and confidence because of the capabilities that we have. So our role is really to augment and to complement partners. So we use an expression about filling the gaps. We're going to fill gaps, whether that's a competence, whether it's a capability, a skill set, a geographical coverage. The partners, we support and augment what they already do. If they were able to do 90% of everything that they need to do themselves and we're only filling the small piece, that's perfectly fine. Or the other way around as well. But we're absolutely here to help fill fill the gaps that they don't have. And it's not just about skills and services, but it's also about helping them on that whole journey. So we've made significant investments around cloud labs, proof of concepts to help them win business and then deliver against that business.
Amazing. Can you give us a bit of a flavor or an outline of how TD SYNNEX supports partners across the technology lifecycle?
Yeah, sure. So we've built a portfolio, and we've looked at that of a portfolio of services, and we've looked at that portfolio through the lens of what the life cycle of a piece of technology. So a solution has to be designed, architected. So before anything gets implemented, there's like a pre-deployment phase where there's a solution design, there's a configuration and architecture. All of that has to be built, and we've services around doing assessments, doing architecture design, doing solution design. That's one piece. A very important part is around skills. I mentioned earlier about the skills shortage. Failing to train the customer and provide the customer with the right skills at the beginning of a project or at the beginning of a deployment means the customer's use of that technology will be thwarted or limited in some fashion. So we put a lot of effort on providing technical skills through the partner to the end customer so that they can be successful. And all of those things are before the solution gets deployed. When it comes to deploying the solution, we've got a couple of offerings. You can imagine around professional services, which is installation, implementation, configuration. But we also have a range of services which we call integration and configuration, which is before the solution gets delivered to the customer site, we can pre-install, pre-configure, customize the solution. So rather than delivering, for example, if it was an infrastructure project, rather than delivering, 10 pallets worth of equipment, which all has to be unboxed and racked and wired and cabled and tested, we would do all of that pre-work in our integration center, do all of the racking, stacking, cabling, etc. So that what gets delivered to the customer is a highly customized, bespoke solution that's been created just for them. So that's around deployment. And then the third phase is post-deployment. So the solution has now been deployed. We've a range of services around technical support, so 24/7 technical support services, which is a reactive type service. That's augmented by 24/7 managed service, which is a proactive type of service where we take care of the solution on behalf of the customer or the partner. And that leads all the way through to then end of life or refurbishment, recycling, etc. services. And I think the important part is, whilst that's a complete portfolio, as I've said a couple of times, this is a menu for the partner to pick and choose the pieces that make sense for the project that they're working on, but also augmenting their capabilities. So yes, we've got a complete end-to-end portfolio, but partners can pick and choose the pieces that are relevant and necessary for them to be successful.
That makes complete sense. For the majority of partners, the post-deployment kind of ongoing support services will be probably the bulk of the relationship. So can you delve deeper into what support services TD SYNNEX does offer, why they're important, and what role the partner distributor relationship plays within that?
Sure. Yeah, you're quite right. So support is probably, we talk about the longevity of a solution. The support phase or the post-deployment phase is the longest part of that, and that's where the relationship with the customers is hugely important, and technical support plays a huge part in that. So we're delivering on behalf of the vendors. So this is not TD SYNNEX operating on our own. We're operating in conjunction with the vendors that we work with, but we're offering 24/7 technical support, multi-language. We've implemented that using a follow the sun model. So we've got technical support centers here in Europe, in North America and APAC, and we implement follow the sun to deliver seamless 24/7 technical support. Super high quality, multi-language, as I said. I think from a partner's point of view, the interesting piece can be that not only are we providing that support to their customers, but if the partner chooses, we can do that in their name. So we can offer white label services, whether that's a technical support or managed service, but being able to offer those services in the name of the partner, with their look and feel, that means that they continue to own the relationship with the customer. It's, in essence, it's their service. And that by the way, I should have said that also applies for the professional services. When we arrive on site to do an installation, we can have a TD SYNNEX t-shirt on, or we can have the partner's t-shirt on. Either are fine for us. So happy to continue to invest in the relationship between the partner and their customer. The other thing that's important about support is, good support builds loyalty. If you deliver an exceptionally good support, that builds loyalty, both loyalty, and that loyalty pays dividends then for the partner and their relationship with the customer. And then the last piece I'd say about support, so support is a beachhead. I think you're probably familiar with the layer model, which is land, adopt, expand, and renew. So the adopt and expand piece, which is quite often the hardest part. The customer has bought the solution, but now you want to use that to expand. Support is a great beachhead. If you're delivering exceptionally good support, that's really a place where you can build from in terms of further adoption, expansion of the solution.
That's fantastic. I have heard of the land, adopt, expand model. I had not heard of a 24-hour support, 24/7 support model being referred to as follow the sun. That's quite lyrical. I quite like that. In any case, I promised we would talk about sustainability, and here we are. What does TD SYNNEX offer partners in this space? Are you seeing things like device refurbishment, e-waste reduction, energy consumption move up the agenda for partners in meaningful ways?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is hugely important for our industry, but also for our planet, and we all, both personally and professionally, want to be doing the right thing. I'm incredibly proud to work for an organization that takes this topic incredibly seriously, not just in words, but in the actions that we're taking and the programs that we've developed. Just before I get on to sustainability, it's important maybe to just note that when it comes to buying technology, we're now surfacing to our partners some of the key pieces of information to help make informed choices. So information about carbon footprint, power consumption, so that when you're making a buying choice around technology, absolutely it's about price and it's about performance and it's about lots of the technology metrics, but we're also including sustainability metrics so people can make informed choices about that. In relation to services, so our circular IT services are really about that technology lifecycle. When a piece of technology comes to the end of its use for that particular customer, it doesn't mean that's the end of its use for another customer. So we're really looking at helping partners take technology and give it a second life, if that's appropriate. In many cases, that is appropriate. We've got huge programs particularly around mobile devices, where we're taking back equipment, giving it a second life, and reintroducing it back into the market so that there's a second use. And where there isn't a second use, then it's about responsible recycling, making sure that's done in a compliant fashion, that we have got a good audit trail, that we have correct data erasure, data privacy, etc. So doing that in a really responsible way, but making sure that the end customers and our partners make sure that that's a value proposition. And there's an economic piece to it as well, and that's not to be underestimated. There is a value to secondhand reuse opportunities, but the sustainability piece, I think, is key. It's very important increasingly important for large parts of the customer segmentation, and for partners. And the fact that we have these programs, I think, is hugely significant, and something, as I said, I'm very proud of.
Well, thank you for highlighting the economic point, especially. It's not just do-goodery; it's also good business, and we keep harping on that message at CRN, and it's lovely to see that coming through from distributors such as TD SYNNEX as well. Can you, to kind of paint a picture around everything you've just outlined, can you share a recent success story where TD SYNNEX helped a partner across multiple lifecycle stages?
Yeah, I'll give you two examples if you don't mind. The first one, and they're touching on different points. So the first one, we were working with a partner who is a pretty significant partner in the country that they operate in, but they're operating just in that country. And one of the opportunities that they brought to us was their customer was a global customer. They wanted to have a data center refresh exercise across the globe, touching 43 countries. And the partner was, they had great capability locally, and they had a super relationship with the customer. They didn't have the scale and reach to be able to offer that type of solution across the scale that was required. So I talked earlier about filling the gaps, and the gap that they had in this case was global scale and reach. What I mentioned earlier, we're operating across 100 countries. We've got 23,000 people. We were able to bring global scale and reach. So we brought the skills, obviously, and the services, but we were able to help the partner to be able to win that piece of business, to be able to offer this global project. And that's a great example of a partner who, if this had just been a local project, they probably would have been absolutely self-sufficient, didn't need our help. But because they now had a requirement which was beyond what they were able to do in this case, it was in terms of capacity, global capacity, we were able to help them. The other example, which I'll give you, it's actually started off as quite a small opportunity. Customer had it was actually a network refresh, and they needed us to come in, or they asked us to come in and to do some assessments. So we did a wireless assessment and some security assessment to help build the architecture and design the network blueprint. And that was a relatively small piece of work, but it turned out that the customer's perception of TD SYNNEX was such that we ended up being invited back with the partner to deliver that project. So implementation. So we went from doing what I referred to earlier as pre-deployment type services. We then got pulled back into doing post-deployment type services. And that project continued to grow to the extent that we were doing the technology refresh. So, and the technology that came back, actually, we put into our circular IT services. So we actually ended up doing some pre-deployment services, some implementation, and then the technology came back and went into our circular IT services for reuse and recycling. So, and again, the partners in these cases, in both of those cases, they were able to leverage our capability, to fill the gaps that they had, and to deliver a complete solution that otherwise they wouldn't have been able to do. So they're just a couple of quick examples.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And as you've just alluded to, the channel and tech enablement very much thrive and depend on strong relationships. To that end, I'd love to find out more about the day-to-day within the TD SYNNEX's services business. You lead a geographically diverse team. How do you keep everyone aligned and motivated?
Yeah, you're right. So the team that I have is somewhere in the region of about 500 people across every country in Europe. We've got people, and in fact we're also part of a global organization. So yeah, it's definitely diverse. Clarity of purpose is key. If everybody in the team understands why we're here and what the purpose is, that makes it much more straightforward in terms of ensuring that everybody is aligned. And our purpose is very clear. Our purpose is to support the partners to be successful. And I know I sound a little bit like a broken record by telling you that we only succeed when the partners succeed. So partner first. We live. That's the mantra that we live by. And our aim is to make the partner successful. And our role is to ensure that the partner's capability combined with TD SYNNEX capability is the winning formula. So that's the kind of the alignment piece. And in terms of the my style, I guess, was we've got a very open, collaborative style. We celebrate success a lot, and thankfully we have a lot of success to celebrate. But it's important to celebrate success. Life is busy, work is busy, and we do take time to celebrate success, because I think it's important to recognize the hard work. None of these things happen all that easily. Services is a people-driven business, and it's the success we have is driven by the people. So we absolutely celebrate that success. And then I guess the last piece is work-life balance is important, and we want to make work as fun as it can be. It's not always fun, but we want to make work as fun as it can be. So we try and have that right balance between being absolutely dedicated to the job, but also having some fun while we're doing it.
I love that. Work hard, play hard. How are you personally, and also the services business, investing in and supporting a diverse cohort of colleagues and maintaining that inclusive, thriving culture that you just described?
Yeah, so diversity is hugely important to TD SYNNEX. So we've got programs and initiatives across the organization to help us with that. It's probably fair to say that the majority of the people who work for me are super technical. It's a very strong technical team, and technical teams heretofore have been probably more male dominated than they should have been. So investing in programs to build greater diversity is hugely important for us as a technical team. And one of those programs is called Elevate, which is really about empowering, engaging and empowering female employees. And we've a long way to go in terms of my technical team. It is still male dominated. However, in the last couple of years, we've made huge strides, great success in terms of changing the diversity, and we do that consciously. It's not an unconscious effort; it's a very conscious effort. And the success we've had or the change that we've made has moved the needle. We're absolutely not done. There's still more to do, but it's certainly something that is on the agenda and continues to be important for us.
Well, that humility is very much appreciated and I think welcome in the DEI space. Moving beyond DEI to the broader vision, what is the vision for TD SYNNEX services in Europe over the next few years?
Yeah, so my vision, and I guess the company's vision. So we're very well known in the IT marketplace as a distributor. We're less well known as a services provider. So if you ask me what does success look like, success to me looks like that the channel and the vendors and the partners see and recognize TD SYNNEX as a services partner, and that's the direction of travel that we're heading in. To get there, we need to continue to develop trust with our partners. We need to continue to expand our offerings and our capabilities. But ultimately, I want to get to the point where when a partner thinks about, I need somebody to help me, that the first person they think of is TD SYNNEX. That's the place where we want to get to, and they have the trust in TD SYNNEX, and they understand that we've got the capability to be able to help them.
Fantastic. And finally, what's one takeaway you'd like to leave viewers with?
So we live in a really rapidly changing world. The technology sector is moving so fast. And then we just look at what's happening with AI. It continues to move fast, and there's no signs that that's going to slow down. It's impossible for partners to be able to keep up with everything. And working with a trusted collaborator is hugely important. In fact, I think it's essential for success. So I would say, my key takeaway is that, by working with somebody like TD SYNNEX, you will have a trusted collaborator that can help you be successful. Doing everything on your own is never going to, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to do everything on your own. Finding the right collaborator, I think, is important, and that's the role that we see ourselves filling.
Well, thank you. This has been a very interesting, very wide-ranging conversation, but I feel like I leave more informed, and hopefully the viewers will too. So thank you very much for your time and insights, Stephen, and thank you everyone for watching the video.